Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hope everybody is doing well today. Ben Yates, what's going on? General Kenobi, how are you today? Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good week. All that great stuff. I know that for me, I had a fairly okay week. But it heightened up as of Tuesday between the hours of 9 and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, you know, I am doing all right. Yeah, like I said, the week wasn't too bad. Uh, quick quick test. Does the mic sound okay? Is the music too loud? If it is, I'll turn it. I did turn it down some, but let me know. Actually, I'm doing a test now on my end. Yeah, like I said, the week wasn't. This kind of sounds like it is. I'm gonna just notch the music down just a smidge more if I can. If I can. Just a smidge more if I can. If I can. Oh, nice. You're watching it now, or are you watching it now, or are you rewatching? Because if you're watching it now, then this live stream is gonna be diving into. Okay, okay. All right. I was gonna say I don't wanna spoil anything because this is an open spoiler discussion live stream for today. Nice, nice. Yeah, I rewatched it a couple times. Because if you're watching it now, then this. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, Shadow Warrior, such a man. Um, Now I know that I talked about this months ago as far as Andor. If you're a fan of Andor, I know I personally am. I loved Andor a lot. Every episode from start to finish of that series was great. We still have to do a live stream for that. We still have to talk about the episodes. We still have to rank the episodes for that. But we definitely gonna have to rank the episodes for the Ahsoka series, all 8 of them. I know for sure some fans were didn't particularly like the first 2 episodes, and it kind of reminded me of Andor. Andor didn't really pick up for a lot of fans until after the first 2 episodes, roughly technically 4 episodes, really, to be honest. It took a few, and technically with the Ahsoka series, it's technically the same thing for a lot of fans. Didn't really connect with them until between episode 4 and this week's episode 5. So as long as those fans just kept watching, and those some fans also too more than likely stopped after the first 3, between the first at least between episodes 2 and 3, they more than likely was just like, oh, this isn't for me. Which again, it's fine. At the end of the day, all of this stuff is subjective per the person. And when it's pertaining to the Star Wars community, the Star Wars community is what it is. We have a lot of back and forth when it's pertaining to a lot of stuff, and fans are in general. You know, I would say in any community when it's pertaining to these fictional worlds, fans can be interesting. I'll say that much. But this past week, episode 5 was such a great watch. I know I just put in the community tab roughly, I want to say, within the past hour. Just asking the question as far as the rating. What did you rate episode 5 between 1 and 10? I gave it a 20 out of 10. Technically, really, to be honest, it was a 9.5 out of 10. And we'll talk about the reasons why it was a 9.5 in here and on the stream. But for the most part, 99% of the episode was, for me, it was just such great, almost everything, right? So with that, let's go. I don't want to talk anymore about what I was talking about, right? And this is it. I'm going to try my best to not dive into every specific moment of every scene. But just as always, I try my best to just focus on the key stuff, because I don't, personally, I don't want to keep people too long if they have to go do certain things. I know that I have a few things that I have to do today, so that's why I'm doing the stream now, compared to later in the day. So I have to be somewhere at 3 o'clock for roughly an hour and a half, something much more important as far as reality is concerned for me. But let's go. I'm gonna remove myself from the camera as always, and you just hear me in the background. Yeah, we'll talk about that too. We'll talk about Thrawn, because I was actually hoping to. I think I did during my prediction stream last Tuesday. This past Tuesday I did talk about that. I thought that maybe we would have seen Thrawn, but that that wasn't in the books, and it's totally fine. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Because what I'm hearing is definitely seemingly more than likely true. Oh, by the way, real quick, I'm coming back on camera. If you all have not checked out the Ascendancy trilogy, these books are a must-read, especially if you're a fan of Thrawn, because maybe possibly they will take some of the stuff, that's a couple of things that are in these books, and apply it to the show. Definitely read the Legends, formerly canon, the Legends, Heir to the Empire books, trilogy books. Definitely read those for sure. But yeah, the opening, it really is really amazing series. The opening for the episode, I should have done more, but I couldn't. Just this week was a little bit busy for me though. But I did grab a couple of specific spots when it's pertaining to a little bit later in the episode. I did grab some footage that I'm gonna look to talk about. Now, when we got the opening here and they showed the the aftermath, basically, right? It was like just super quiet. You could hear the sea in the background, wind blowing, all of that, and they just showed the aftermath of what was here. The map split in two, and Hera and Jason and everybody else just like here. This part, not specifically here though. There was a specific part where Hera was pointing her gun. There were some images that I saw. There was a specific image that had Hera here. During this part, I was wondering where she was. I thought that she was nearby. With her gun, she was pointing at somebody. That's what I thought that she was pointing at, like Balin or something like that. But this part, and technically, guys, when we really think about it, everything that we got over the past 5 episodes, everything that we've seen has been, except for two specific spots in the trailers, we have seen from the trailers. The only actual thing that we haven't seen yet is Thrawn. So everything else, moving forward now, as far as I can tell, I'm 99% sure that we've seen everything from the trailers. This spot here with Jason, when he was standing there and Hera told him to take a step back, and he put himself behind Chopper. This was just funny to me. I just thought it was just hilarious. I had to make sure that I got this part here. But Hera, she, was looking around. I want to say it was around here per the image that I saw online. I was just like, this, where is this? Then we see why she was pointing and looking. She was here at the aftermath. And then she ends up seeing Huang holding. I think I have a better image. Just double check. Here we go. Huang holding Sabine's helmet. And he said, Huang said, I told them to stick together. It was just better that they were smarter than they did. Basically, what he was saying. So, but you can see, the responses to folks. But Jason knew, and that's the thing. Some fans are kind of like really just like not feeling the moment that's going to be coming up soon between Jason and Hera, and then we got the title, Shadow Warrior. And a lot of these titles have been really just great, right? And I just love that they let me see where why did it go way down here? I love that as soon as we got the title, we went right to the War Between Worlds. Some fans are questioning whether this really is the War Between Worlds. Some fans are questioning if this is Anakin. Some fans are saying it is. Some fans are saying it isn't. Some fans are saying it's just the Force. I kind of believe that it is Anakin and the Force all wrapped in one. That's just me. Some fans are even saying like Ahsoka was on the verge of dying, this, that, and third. So it's just like there's still questions about this whole, these moments with Anakin and Ahsoka. Oh, that's what I forgot. One more second here. Send a text message real quick. Okay. Now, when we get the conversation between Ahsoka and Anakin here, they're having a key conversation. It's really about Ahsoka's training because she did mention this back in, if I remember correctly, it was episode 2, maybe even 1. I want to say 2, where she says she never finished her training. Anakin basically says, I'm here to, finish your training. She's like, there's nothing else that you can teach me. And then, his response is, of course, right here in this moment, you're never, it's never too late to learn new things, right? There's certain moments in the episode itself that parallel to older trilogy, newer, the older trilogy, the prequels. I still have a couple of videos that I need to put together. Hopefully I can do that this weekend because I am off. I'm probably going to look to do that today even. So that way they'll be out, I want to say maybe even one tomorrow and definitely Monday. And then come Tuesday, I'll be looking to do another prediction stream, hopefully, before the episode drops. For episode 6. But I just love their conversation. And Hayden did such a great job. I just want to reiterate this. If you didn't notice, Hayden did such a great job portraying I'm not losing my train of thought. Home. Give me 1 second. Matt Lantern. He portrayed Matt Lantern in the mannerisms, some of the way that he was talking to Ahsoka. It was just really just man-like. Man. I'm actually about to grab. Actually, I could do it here right now. Let me. Do this. I think the music's gonna stop. Yeah, it's gonna stop. That's okay. I'll turn it back on in a moment. But once we actually get there, uh, the duel beginning, right? This is what I want to talk about. Let me see. Oops, that's not it. I don't know why that popped up. Give me a second. Why is that? It's being strange. Hold on, let me get rid of that. Give me a second. I don't know what's going on. Hold on, because I have something I wanted to show. I can't seem to pull it up. Where are you? There we go. So when the duel began, right? We do get the comment that Ahsoka said, basically, I won't fight you. And he said, and Anakin's response was, I've heard that before. You can sit here and say that, you can assume, you can question, but you can sit here and say that kind of response was sounding like, Ahsoka's stating, I won't fight you, sounds like Luke in Return of the Jedi. But at the same time, it kind of also sounds like, too, that back with her fight with with Vader, at the time, Anakin as Vader, it sort of sounds like that in a sense, right? But with that, I actually had did a recording of somebody did an edit. They combined younger Ahsoka's fight with Anakin at the siege of Mandalore, and they edited in Rebels some scenes from their original fight way back when Anakin was Vader at the time. But when the duel begins, we see them do spots like this with the block. Like I said, I have a video I want to put together. The video is going to be more than like 5 seconds long. But there's something that I wanted to put together when it's pertaining to this fight, comparing to their fight between Ahsoka and Anakin at the time. And I love the little smirk. I love the little smirk that Anakin gives a few times. This is just so cool to see Anakin do this here. In the very beginning, first roughly seconds in, he shoves her back, and you can tell from Ahsoka that there's definitely worry behind. There's worry now because she really was thinking like, oh, this isn't gonna happen. Like maybe I'm thinking like in her mind, she's like telling him, I won't fight you, and she maybe possibly thinking that he's not that serious until he actually decides to step forward and swing his lightsaber down. Simply because this is what needs to happen. And we see this little bit of a block here more than once. And I love that part. This part goes back to the prequel to Revenge. When he does that, because he did that in Revenge of the Sith when he was fighting Obi-Wan with the lightsaber. I love that part. So that was just really cool. But at the same time, we didn't know what was going to come up, and that was, of course, basically, Anakin. And I love this part too. Like, he shoves her back even more with just one arm. He does it with ease. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that. Like, that's just so freaking dope, guys. And I love that he does that there. But again, we couldn't tell what Anakin was really doing in this moment, but it was ultimately to get her here because he wanted to take her to her past. And we get that, and I love this part too when they fight a little bit more. Boom, boom, and here we go. Bang! She does the block. He's applying pressure, and then sweet, boom. She hits him with the roundhouse kick. That was cool. So it was just like, you know what I mean? The fight just, yeah, like, super dope. And then he drops her down. And of course we get what we get per the conversations and the scenes and stuff to come. We're down here, and we didn't know. We technically didn't know. I forgot to do some comparisons, but I will say, when she fell down here, and I think I actually have the very first image. Of when I got super excited. And it was as soon as I saw the very first clone trooper pop up on screen. Actually, let me just bring it back up for now. At least for now. Oops, I didn't do that. Let me there we go. Get the music back up. Like I said, it was the very first time that seeing the clone trooper pop up, and I yelled. I was like, ah! I was like, here we go. That's literally was my response. I was like, here we go. I got super hyped up, super excited. I was just like, yo, this is just like so dope, right? It's like, because there were reports. There were reports a couple of months back saying that there would be flashbacks, and we see a younger Ahsoka. We see Anakin. There were reports a couple of months back, rumored reports that we were going to get Clone Wars in live action form, and we got it. Now, of course, the question is, will we get more of this type of stuff moving forward? They should, after the responses from many of us fans, they should automatically just say, okay, let's green light this. Let's give them this, right? But it was just really cool to see younger Ahsoka, Ariana Greenblatt, who played the younger Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy. Right? Is it Guardians or was it? Maybe it was Endgame. It was just cool to see her here. I heard that she was in the Barbie movie because I haven't seen it yet, too, and then something else. But she did really, really well. Like, and she played the younger and a little bit older Ahsoka, which is really cool. And it's just crazy because we really think like once again we still think like man like when you really think of the Jedi like the Jedi were from a parental thought. Um, Many parents, from a humanistic standpoint, would not do what many of the Star Wars Galaxy parents would have done for many, many, many decades, basically, and that is take their kids and say, hey, because they're force sensitive, we're gonna send them off to these, to the Jedi Temple and become Jedi and blah blah blah. Like many parents technically wouldn't do that. Um, but this was just really just so great to see Anakin and see younger Ahsoka, see the Clone Wars, watching them run. This was just dope. Love this a lot. Like I said, we got Ryloth first. I was supposed to grab some Clone Wars Ryloth images, but I couldn't at the time. This alone, grabbing all these images alone took me a couple hours to do. I think it was like 3-4 hours actually. Um, in certain spots when I paused it too, it was just like this was just really just dope, and I loved it a lot. But hold on, guys, hold on a second. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. What was I saying? Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Boom, boom, boom. And this part here, where are you? Is this it? No, that's not it. There was that moment, right? Well, I don't think, actually, I think they didn't show it yet. But like once we got to, and even this part here, I like this part with the one clone trooper who was carrying his gun, running. Like this was just dope too. I really just love that part too. Oops, do that. But it was more so, of course, like the aftermath, right? Once everything calmed down, the had all the dust in the air from the battle. They're carrying the clone troopers, the injured, basically, right? And you could tell like Ahsoka was just, she was hurt. And I love this part with the one injured trooper here when they grabbed her hand, and she just, she was really upset, right? But her and Anakin they have that conversation. Because technically they're both teenagers. Anakin's still 19, she's 14 at the time. But Anakin took on that leadership role. He knew what it was. He knew what it, because he's been doing this for roughly a couple of years now, maybe a little bit longer. So he's used to seeing this stuff, right? But like I said, Anakin showing these mannerisms of Matt Lantern during these scenes was just really just dope. But him having these conversations with her, and he even joked about something specific. She was like, "You're really joking about this right now," because he's trying to kind of trying to lighten the mood. But with that, Ahsoka does ask, she does say, like, is this what it's gonna be like whenever I have my own Padawan? Um, you know, you kind of feel for it at the time, because she's still technically a kid, right? Um, she did send, at the time, she did send troopers here per her order and stuff like that, and yeah, they did get hurt. A lot of troopers got hurt. But, Anakin's just like, look, you, this is what we do, and we got to make it happen. And of course, the first transition from Anakin to Darth Vader happens when he's walking, right? He's walking away from her. This was just so freaking dope. I loved it a lot. And we see Vader here pop up. That was dope. And then he goes back to Anakin. That was just like super dope. Like, I could watch this moment like over and over again, to be honest. Maybe I'll do a video of that. Just do a 5-minute video or something. Just that spot. But then again, I don't know. Maybe they'll block it. on that cheese, even if I put like my own music to it. Because there are videos like it's crazy. Like even with your own music attached to a video, like what I'm talking about can still get blocked. And then we swap to Chase, and this was just cool to see him to see his back turn. He's watching over the sea. Um, I honestly feel like maybe now that Ahsoka is Ahsoka the White, maybe she'll take him on as an official apprentice more than Sabine. Um, but we'll see what happens with that. Maybe that'll be more so in the book even. I love Carson. I really love Carson a lot. He's just such a great character. So hilarious too sometimes with his responses. Because he doesn't even really still believe in the Force and stuff like this. But I did love this part when the ship comes down, Ghost ship comes down onto the water. That was just cool. At least close to the water. This was cool. But they have Hera and Huang have a conversation about, key things, right? But they're just out here looking for, they're looking for Ahsoka, and then they, if I remember correctly, it was Jason was the one to say, we gotta go get as close to the water, and Hera's like, yeah, let's do it. And then we get Ahsoka. We get her doing her freaking thing. I think I'm gonna cut the music again because I want to actually show the spotter. I believe I have it. Give me a second. I think I did record it, if I remember correctly. No, you know what, I didn't. I thought I did. I thought I grabbed it, but I didn't. But Ahsoka does, Greenblatt does a great job here, now playing an older Ahsoka. She's fighting. We have the Mandalorians. Pop up. This was cool to see them. Yeah, to see them pop up, this was just dope. Because now fans are like, well, what if Maul pops up, right? And I love the way Ahsoka stabs this one here. This was dope. She was on her knees and she does a little twirl and boom, stabs him, drops him real quick. Could have went pro. And I do love how she stood here, just watching over the aftermath of just the fight itself. This was dope. And of course, we get the legend, Rex, Captain Rex, Commander Rex. We get the legend here because he was originally at Ryloth, so he was captain at the time. Now here he's commander. Some fans were kind of nitpicking his armor, the way that it looked, because it wasn't set appropriately or something like that. But I'm not that type of a stickler. For the most part, I might be for Thrawn though. Who knows? We'll see. but I love that they had Tamir Morrison actually play the voice. There there is some stuff out there that basically said that they did film a whole bunch of footage, which means that even Tamir Morrison he had his helmet off, and what I'm about to talk about here, they filmed more stuff when it's pertaining to Anakin versus Ahsoka. That just didn't make they cut it out. But they have the conversation, this conversation, her and Anakin. And as always, I love this stuff right here. Anakin and Ahsoka standing there. Where are you? Anakin with his arms folded, just like in the Clone Wars. I actually want to make some people upset. Here's Ahsoka, arms folded. Just L-I-G it, like folks. L-I-G it. Ahsoka does this all the time. I don't know why people were upset that she kept folding her arms as adult Ahsoka. It's like she does that. She did that as a kid. That was her. That was her thing. I mean, heck, I fold my arms sometimes when I'm talking to people, just to talk to them. But again, like I said, they have these conversations, and for me, I feel like per what happens later on, that's basically getting ready to come up soon, but in their fight, the conversation between Ahsoka and Anakin here, they're talking about, how the Force flows through Anakin. He basically does tell my master did it, his master did it, blah blah blah. All of me and what I have is going to become all of you eventually, and it's harbinging towards both the light and the dark, to be honest, in this conversation. But Ahsoka turns around and says to him that you are powerful, strong, and dangerous. She even talks about destruction and this, that, and the third. Something that even Balin had a conversation during their battle in episode 4 the following week, where he said your legacy, like your masters, like you and your masters, have brought nothing but death and destruction. She talks about death. She talks about dangerous destruction and power and stuff like that. That is a negative thing from her perspective. And I always question why Balin was saying that stuff to Ahsoka, because I'm still questioning about. I did a video on that where I'm questioning, like, what is Balin talking about when it's pertaining to death and destruction, and who did he lose possibly in his pathway to become a dark Jedi, basically. But once Anakin, for the second time during these conversations, says, live or die, he says back to the beginning. This is when we get, dark side Anakin. That's why I'm saying I feel like this is Anakin, but it's like the Force Anakin. He's at full power. He has both the light and the dark in him. And they go to do this fight here. I thought I had. I did. I just didn't. I do have the recording. I just don't have. I think I have the sound to it. I don't want to play it. But I love this spot here. I really love. This is one of the images that I use for the community tab in today's community tab question as far as the episode is concerned. This was just cool to see. And they fight. And one of the things that I've loved with the lightsaber battles is that there's all these sparks happening that technically didn't happen in the past films, but it is now. It was more like a Flash. This is Flash and Sparks combined. And he grabs her arm and twists it, or twists her wrist and stuff like that, and then that's when he does the kick, right? He kicks her. Now I have the video that I was trying to show before, where he walks towards Ahsoka, and he says to her, "You lack conviction." Let me go back because I have to show because I have to show this part, because again we get back to back, the back to back moment when he's walking towards her. The I don't know if it's like a shrug of his shoulders, or if like the clothing, maybe he was just exuberating, or however you want to call it, but he the transition from Anakin to Vader here was just so dope, right? And of course back. And like I said, that's when we get he says to her, like, "You lack conviction," with the combined voice of Vader and himself, Anakin. That was just cool. Bang, bang, bang. I love that, because she's down and he's not, it's like, he's trying to show her and get her attention of, this isn't a game. Like, take this serious. I can literally take you out. This part harkens back to Rebels. There it goes. Actually, I did record that. So it takes us back to this moment. Boom. Right. Takes us right back here. Just the parallels, guys. Just the parallels of this stuff. So, it's really just dope. Get back up there. There we go. I just love that a lot. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I did the video as well this week where we talked about this moment. A lot of fans were upset that Ahsoka, supposedly beat Anakin, right? But it was here. She grabs his lightsaber. She puts it to his face. And then we get the moment where I honestly believe, many fans believe, but I honestly believe that Ahsoka's eyes turn Sith red, like Anakin's. Because he has that conversation with her back at the Siege of Mandalore, and says that, all of me is going to be within all of you, both the light and the dark. But of course, she tosses the lightsaber and says that, I choose to live, because Anakin kept saying, live or die. She says, I choose to live. He takes the step back. Lowers his eyes and opens them back up with the smirk. And he says, there's hope for you yet. tells her to look over her shoulder, and she turns around and he disappears. Get the music back. Keep forgetting. She calls out to Anakin because he's gone, and then we see the world between worlds fade away. We get the straight line, and then we have her in the water. I'm just like, man, like she technically Ahsoka was underwater this whole time. She was unconscious, but you can interpret it as, she was on her way to pass away, but Anakin helped her come back, and we got her being saved. They get her on to the lift here and prep to get her up, but then that's when she's laying there. She's calling out to Anakin. And then we get, of course, back to Jason, with the excitement. I feel like the Force more so was telling them that, they found her, because them coming back here doesn't necessarily mean that they found her. But like I said, I feel like the Force was telling Jason that they did find her. And then she was, the sun or whatever on this planet beams on her. This was cool. I really like this spot here. And we get to see Ahsoka without the headband thing on, which was cool also. She was out for a day, so Yang had told her, and then we do get her rocking, the white, her and Jason hug. And then her and Hera has the conversation about not knowing what, when, and why, and where. And then, of course, we have Ahsoka using the Force to be able to find where they are. Or not so much as where, but what happened. But she knows that Sabine gave them the map. They captured her, but they now trying to figure out where to go. And then, of course, we get the but then, too, we have I forgot to mention too that Carson brings up, he says Senator Organa, which I want to believe he's talking about Leia, not Balin. I mean, not Pops, Bail, right? Get a moment of Chopper. I kind of feel like Chopper hasn't been featured as much as he normally is. If you feel like he had, Chopper has, let me know in the comments below after the stream is up. If you feel like sharing your thought on that. But ultimately, we do have Ahsoka look at him in there, and she looks at the Purgo up there. Yeah, she knows what she basically needs to do next. But ultimately, too, we have the conversation with Hera and Mon Mothma, and them talking about suspending her permanently from her position due to the fact that, at the time don't have evidence as to reasons why they, you know, decided to do what they did. And they were sending specific key ships over to take over basically. But ultimately, it technically is about these wonderful, 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 great creatures here, and them using them right. Ahsoka calling up I want to say the leader of the Purgle here. I want to say this Purgle is the leader. I really want to say this one's the leader of the Purgle here, to be honest. But I do love how these ships popped up to try to shut everything down. But I love Carson's conversation where he's like, you won't believe me, but this is what it really is. And of course, they don't, they don't believe it at all until they actually see the Purgle popping up. And then, of course, the Purgle getting ready to go into their own version of hyperspace travel, which is dope. And I love this part here. Very different compared to the normal way of how things look when somebody's getting ready to go into hyperspace. So then they're gone. That's what they hit. I kind of feel like, though, I kind of feel like they're I forgot what I was going to say. I kind of feel like they're, I guess I want to say the last, because I felt like, here, let me go back. Kind of felt like the moment with the Purgles was a little bit lengthy, so that's kind of why I feel like um it kind of lasted a little bit longer than needed. But I guess really looking at it, I think more so because they had the ships pop up and having that conversation, and Ahsoka going out to the ship and using the Force to call the lead Purgle to come to have a conversation. And I love this part too because we get the Purgle's eye here, even more so because I know in episode 2 we saw one of the Purgle's eyes, but it was a little bit smaller. Actually, let me see if I can. Maybe I can grab it here. I think it was episode 2. No, episode 3 maybe. Because I don't think it was episode 4. Yeah, so here it is. When we see the Purgle's eye here, it's a lot smaller because this Purgle was smaller compared to the one that we get in episode 5 from this week. So, so yeah. But as always, this part was just dope to see. to help, at least more than, one person can validate, can really go back and tell the New Republic, hey, what they're saying is true. Like, they had the reason. There's evidence. This, that, the third, and Ahsoka did indeed travel with them to go to this galaxy, to save and bring back Sabine. So, I'll bring it up on the prediction stream come Tuesday. I'll specifically say here that I believe that we will see Thrawn pop up, but more likely probably be at the very end of the episode, walking us into episode 7 and 8. Because I'm hearing that he's been credited for two episodes. For the last, they at least believe that's what it is. Lars Mikkelsen's been credited for 2. That's what I heard. So yeah. But yeah, the episode in whole 9.5, 9.5 out of 10. I loved it. Like I said, it was just the ending. I felt like kind of dragged us a little bit. It's pertaining to getting to the Purgles, getting them to help them and stuff like that. Just a smidge. That was the only part that I felt like it was a little too long. But other than that, from start to finish, technically, the entire episode was indeed a great episode. So now, come Tuesday next week, episode 6, I now feel like we're going to see the unknown regions. We're going to see, like I said, we're going to see Thrawn is going to be at the end. Because everything that we've received in this show off these last 5 episodes, everything that we've seen have literally been from all of the trailers that we've seen. We have seen that they pushed out to us, except for showing Thrawn his back, like the back of his head and stuff, walking onto the ship that Morgan Elsbeth travels on, and then of course, the front of his face. Him walking up towards whomever, could be all the parties involved: Baylan, Morgan, Sabine, Shinati, or somebody else specific, or maybe Morgan herself. But that's pretty much everything else that we've seen in all these trailers we've gotten in all these episodes. So everything else moving forward is literally going to be just blind to us. We don't know. There's going to be rumors and leaks and stuff traveling out the woozah when it's pertaining to social media. So stay clear if you can. Actually, I have something here that talks about pertaining to Anakin that now I can talk about now real quick. I have something else, but I'll talk about that when the show actually ends. This was a rumor. I'll say it was a rumor. A couple of things were true, not everything was. But it says they're talking about like everything that we know about as far as for episode 5. They said that this supposed rumor was that Anakin is now a Mortis god. He is in the War Between Worlds, holding the universe together. Ahsoka sees different what if scenarios in the War Between Worlds, like her younger self fighting Anakin instead of Obi-Wan. She sees herself doing something else specific. And this is just all to show that it didn't matter what path she chose, it would lead her to the same place. She can't escape fate. She becomes Ahsoka the White. So that's what I'm saying. Like, a couple of things, just a couple of things were really true. Like I said, Anakin, that had technically, I feel like, is Anakin. Just Anakin and the Force together. Maybe this War Between Worlds is where key Jedi have gone to and be able to travel the world they need to travel. Like, say to come in contact with Luke, say Qui-Gon coming in contact with Obi-Wan on Clone Wars, stuff like that. So, yeah. And of course, Qui-Gon showing up at the end of the Kenobi series type of stuff. So yeah. All in all, 9.5. Great episode. Loved it a lot. Can't wait for episode 6 this coming Tuesday. Like I said, prediction stream will be Tuesday, roughly around 8 p.m. and go for about like a half hour, 30 minutes plus, maybe 40 before episode 6 drops, and then I'll look to do my recording of the episode, do my videos, a couple of videos for the next couple of days, and then prep, make it happen. So with that, guys, I'm out. Leave some comments in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts after the stream is gone. Let's talk about some things if you feel up to it. What did you all rate it? If you didn't see my community tab rating post for episode 5 for this week, let's talk about some things, guys. Let's prepare for next week to come. But other than that, I will hopefully talk to y'all next time with another stream or video to come soon. Remember, the Force